was glad when they said, come let us go to the house of the Lord. I was glad when they say, come let us go to the church with no walls. You are my brother, you are my sister. From all over the world we are united in the house of God, in the church with no walls.
Welcome to this edition of the Church with No Walls podcast. I'm your host, Ryan Dearbone, and today I have the pleasure of being surrounded by three great men here in Bowling Green, Warren County. If you don't know them, then you should. So we have Chase Carpenter, Tyreon Clark, and Jordan. What's your last name, Jordan? Clark. Jordan Clark as well. It makes sense because he's Tyrion's son, father's son. I just wanted to make sure I got that correct. And so these men are, first of all, they're in the community doing a lot of different things. So if you've seen them, you've probably seen them for a lot of different things. But one of the things they've started to do now is a ministry called Meet and Lift. And so I want to bring you guys on the podcast because we always talk about things that are outside of the church walls, because a lot of times we kind of get not stuck, but we kind of think the only type of ministry can be in a church. Amen. But you brothers have come up with something that's different. So tell us a little bit about Meet and Lift and the genesis of it.
For me, I feel like this is something that has been in the pipeline for over a year now. It's probably about a year ago. I had seen some random video on Instagram, and I had seen like a group of guys networking inside a gym, lifting weights, reading the Bible, praying together, and I thought it was interesting. However, in that point in time, it just really didn't manifest. The dots didn't connect. So fast forward a year later, we had the Danny Carruthers 5K, which I can go to the gym and lift weights, but I do not like to run. But I have chose this year to like be my best self and get uncomfortable. So one of my friends had challenged me to do the 5K, but the result of the 5K once we had completed was seeing so many men celebrating one another, high-fiving, hugging, applauding one another. And then a week later, I had received a video of the same workout video of guys fellowshipping, praying, and lifting weights again. So me coming off the high from the 5K and then seeing that video again, I'm like, look, this is the moment to where I need to make sure we are able to manifest this. So I text Tyreon, shout out to my guy and close friend Tyreon, now has a new facility on Nashville Road, Soki Skills Factory. I'm like, listen, this is what I want to do. He's like, hey, let's put a date on it. And then the next day we had a flyer complete. So that's Meet and Lift. That's how that came into fruition.
Tyreon?
Yeah. I mean, I typically, I trust the people around me, and, my friends who have visions, I try to meet them where they are and make them happen. So for me, my spiritual journey has been just going where God takes me. Of course, mentoring and being around a lot of young men all the time. I thought it was important, when Chase brought this to me, to make sure I surround myself with strong men, men that's willing to work together towards a mission. And, getting to this point now to where we hosted our first Meet and Lift session, it put me in a different category as far as spiritual goes, because it felt like we had church with no walls. It felt like, that environment that was created in the room that we're in is going to continue to allow us to not only, build strong men, but also show young men how to pray, how to be uncomfortable, how to work through it, and become more vulnerable. Yeah. And really, the spiritual part of it, and then the workout side of it is like, we can conquer all things. So just getting in the room and being able to create those spaces is, it's been.
It was fulfilling.
Yeah. It's chilling.
And for Jordan, for you, what was it like being a part of that?
So he didn't get to go to the first one.
Okay, but
so
you're coming to the next one, right?
Yeah, I'm coming to the next
one. Okay.
I feel like it's going to help me work for a purpose. It's like I feel like when I train sometimes, I get kind of like lazy, but I feel like going to this Meet, Lift, and Bible study will make me feel like I have to train for a purpose.
Come on.
And just help me just like get through the training session better.
That makes sense. And, you kind of both touched on it, that, as men, a lot of times we don't celebrate each other. We don't celebrate ourselves. We don't show vulnerability. Absolutely. Because, we're supposed to be the alphas. We can't let that
be. Not a lot of spaces.
Not a lot of spaces. And even in church settings, we're supposed to be the leader. We can't do that. So how do you feel like something like this not changes the narrative, but it allows for us to be able to, like, if you can't lift, like if you can bench press 200 pounds, I can only do 150, but I'm still out there doing the work and still kind of being able to celebrate myself for being able to do that. How does that change it?
I feel like what we're doing is touching so many different facets. You have some men or people in general that getting close to God, some people may be against or don't believe in they have to go to church to do that. So for us, it's like, what can we create outside of the church setting for people who may not feel comfortable hopping in straight from church to build their relationship with God? We can do it another route. So for us, I mean, I don't do the workout side, the work side of it, the workout side. That's what Tyreon does. But I feel like he does a great job of creating these workouts to where any people of all ages or whatever your natural state is, that you can come in and be successful at it. But also, I mean, for us to be in that room to uplift each other and pray with one another and get vulnerable and share our different testimonies, man, I didn't really realize going into it what the turnout was going to be. The day one that we walked into it, I'm like, it may be 2 or 3 people, but where 2 or 3 are gathered, but end up to be 22 or 23 people on our first session. And it was crazy to see so many different men and even young men come together. And once we concluded the event, people shaking hands, hugging, exchanging numbers, and it was a sight to see.
Yeah. And I would say, people might not be able to lift weights, but they can lift everybody in the room in prayer. And I think that's important. Those words that people speak, into each other's souls, and, that comfort, and typically what we do, with the workouts is we break the workouts down. So we either have a progression or a regression for every person that's in the room. So, if you can't do a barbell squat, then maybe you do a quick kettlebell. If you can't do a kettlebell, maybe you do a praying squat. And we try to, modify the workouts for every athlete or every, man that's in the room to help build them up to where, you can do this, and we're going to encourage you to do it. And you're going to see other people in the room doing it, which is going to encourage you to get up and do something if you can. But Chase, he tweaked himself the last time, so he didn't do the workout.
Which is crazy. The day before the session, I had tweaked my back that morning. The day before the session, so I was like, the devil is trying to stop us.
He was dodging the smoke.
The
That's
devil,
what it was.
listen, I'll run to the fire. So it was crazy for me to come up or host this event, and then I can't even participate on the actual workout side of it. But yes, Mr.
You were able to
Chase
oversee it, though.
I was definitely motivating the men in the room, and that was that was so moving to see these men like root one another on and clapping their hands and like, hey, let's go. It was definitely something that ignited.
It wasn't easy.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't an easy workout. But everybody collectively was there for one mission. Like my pastor always says, when you go take your car to the car wash, you go to get your car washed. When we come to this meeting lift, the goal is to come there intentionally to create a space of creating a better relationship with God, and in your own way. Everybody does that differently, but we just want to set that space for people to be comfortable, where we can push people to be open to something they may not be open to, whether that is spiritually or physically. So we're doing some amazing things at the Meet Length, and we look forward to see what we can grow this into.
So now, what was the Bible study lesson for the last one?
Oh man, so we had Pastor Andrew Butler came in. His church is near church, and more so what he was pushing was just staying in the fight. Expect to be mountains and valleys and different things you're going to navigate in life, but it's on you to continue to push through those moments. So really was like the test of a man was his topic of today. And it's crazy, you see a lot of men in there, they were like locked in. Locked into what he was talking about. Like you see some hands moving, some feet tapping. So I feel like the word that he came and preached our last session, he did an amazing job. Because, I mean, also, we getting the pastors to be uncomfortable. They're not in a pulpit. You're in a workout facility. So I know not just we're getting uncomfortable. I mean, we're pulling them out of their comfort space as well, too. So this upcoming session, we have Pastor Dr. Terry Daniels will be leading this study session. In each session, I want to switch it up. We'll have different pastors, I don't want to get lost in, with me being an African-American male, just be only African-American pastors. I want people of different ethnicities coming in. And, sometimes we'll do yoga sessions. And it may not just be a workout session. We may do a 3K or something. You never know what we may do. So if we do a 3K, it means you cannot miss it.
I'll be there.
If you can't do nothing, I know you can run.
I'll be there. I think you're right. I can't do anything, but I can. 3K is even better.
3K, I know.
That's even better.
Listen, no, he'd get out easy if he said a 3K. I meant a 5K.
Okay. Well, we'll see. Okay, how about if you guys want to do a marathon, we could do that.
Oh,
too.
listen. That's a different. I'm not there yet in my walk.
I will walk.
I will walk a marathon.
I'll meet you where you are.
Hey, the walk for Christ. 26 miles, walk for Christ.
That is crazy.
Let's do it.
Shout out to Colin Burnham. That's the guy to call for that.
I was gonna say he's probably one of the fastest guys I've seen around here. He's got speed.
He's mentally he's at a different place. Shout out to him though.
Yeah,
that's all. Tyreon, so for you being able to do it, I know Jordan didn't get to do it last time, but being able to do this with your son, I'm sure there will probably, if they're not already, other fathers and sons doing this. What does that mean to you to be able to do this with him, to be able to set this tone and set this maybe standard for, being a man, being able to be a Christian, being able to do all these things and do it together?
I think it means a lot. I kind of tell him all the time, like, anything that he's ever done, I've pretty much had a hand in creating, which is pretty powerful, and he's kind of at a stage now until these next 5 years, he'll be 18 and, starting a business and, creating that environment to where he gets to walk in and he can go to the gym anytime. He got a key, he can go into the door anytime, and get into the meet and live. I think he will see me at a stage that, me being able to do what he does. Like, he knows that I can do it, but he also knows, like, the real me, like the version of myself that nobody sees. And he watches me go through my own battles and so forth. So I think getting him into the room and pushing him through a workout and having that biblical connection in our building, I think all of that, is going to only, transform him and transform his life, because he has his own things that he goes through that he doesn't talk about. And having, men in a room that can show that they're vulnerable, that can speak on their testimonies and speak on their trials and tribulations. I think, as he grows, he's going to encourage his friends to come in too and bring their dads or bring their moms into the room. And, we having that space is going to be, I can't wait. I can't wait, because I'm going to put a workout in the room that, I'm going to try to break them. I'm going to break the other young boys.
Break you too.
Thanks, Joe. You might need to stay home.
I'm excited, man. I'm really excited.
No, that's good. And so, Chase, you were saying, actually, I was overhearing you guys before we were getting set up, talking about somebody who was wanting to come and bring a group of friends. And talk a little bit about that and what that means when you hear something like that.
I think that's a part of just impact. God gives us impact in our own ways. Some people use their impact for the good. Sometimes people use their impact for the bad. But this conversation transpired actually this week. I had met a guy that we have been in certain rooms together a couple of times. And we just started talking about business, because I know he's an entrepreneur. I'm an entrepreneur. But he comes to tell me that he just sold his business, which was like, huh? Like, you have a successful business. What would make you pivot in life to do that? He said for months he was in like a different mental state, but God was trying to tell him to move, and he didn't want to move. But once he started listening to God and hear what he was trying to lead him to, one of those facets was him selling his business and to go a different route. So it was interesting, because him sharing that testimony with me ended up turning to me talking about this meet and lift, and him explaining how he's never really been in a room where he could be vulnerable. He's never had a group of friends to where he can share his testimony. And for me, like me talking to Tyreon, we give every time we meet, we're giving our testimony. I feel like last time we was at Soki, I had almost started crying just to hear where Tyreon comes from to where he's at today. Like, that's our normal. So to be around somebody who has so many peers around him, and for him to say like he's never had that type of testimony or space for that was very interesting. So I was like, hey, we're doing this meet and lift June 20th. I would love for you to come. He's like, hey, I'll definitely be there. So he texted me the next day while I was at work at like 7 a.m. He said, my wife told me to ask you first because I always lead my friends when it comes to different outings. If 20 people come, would that be an issue? I'm like, no. Like, I'm not going to turn down anybody when it comes to what we're building this facility. Does that mean that we need to grow it even bigger? If that's what God is calling us for us to do, then
we'll do it.
Let's do that. But the goal is, our impact to impact somebody else, and whoever we impact for them to carry that on and impact another. That's the goal, is to plant as many seeds as we can. So it looks like this 20 we had last time can potentially turn to 30, 40. But, whatever God brings into that room, they're supposed to be there. That's God's plan. So that was an interesting moment this week.
Absolutely. And I mean, you talk about sharing testimonies. What are your testimonies? What got you to where you're at now? Because you guys are influencing people in the community. You guys are making changes, positive changes. People, young black men, young men in general are seeing you guys and seeing the moves that you're making in business and sports and just being good men.
We're here all day talking about testimonies.
I mean, we can make this thing like episode long. But if somebody came up to you and just said, "Hey, Chase, hey, Tyreon, just give me a little bit of your testimony. Why are you where you're at? What is your relationship? How'd you get here? What would you tell them?"
Lord, it's so many whys for me. I mean, if I could just say and give my testimony and how thankful I am. And a lot of times when I say I'm thankful, I'm blessed, that doesn't necessarily just means me. That means the people that's around me, my village as well too. Like, people I'm connected to are being blessed. But for me, obviously, growing up, my father, Reverend Chase Carpenter, was a pastor. So I grew up in the church my entire life. But when you get to a certain age, you start to understand that there's things that you're blessed with, it's not only coming from you. But I also knew I need to start being intentional with my relationship with God as I got older, because I seen so many blessings that was coming to me, how many doors were opening, and things I deemed impossible were coming possible right before my eyes. And I know that's not only me. I know that has to be a higher calling. So for me, that was my push and purpose on, like, I need to start being more intentional about my relationship with God and giving him more of my time. And since I've started to do that, my vision has become so much clearer, but also my purpose and why outside of like my career space is how many lives can I impact or change? When I'm dead and gone, what are people going to say about me? And I don't want people just to be talking about how, my daycare space or business or whatever case may be. I want people to be like, hey, that man has helped me do this and that. So, God has blessed me so much, I can't be quiet. That's essentially what it is. It's like Pastor always talks about, if God has blessed you, it's as a Christian, as a believer of God, it's on you to share how good God has been. And I done been on Facebook, being vulnerable, crying. Like, I don't care at this point in my life, because I used to be embarrassed. I used to be shy. Like, I used to be the one in church that may not stand up even when I was feeling moved. But right now, I give God his ultimate praise in any space that I'm in, whether it's my workspace, whether it's the workout space, whether it's driving down the street, don't matter what room I'm in, I always give first honor to God. So I feel like it's my duty to make sure I can spread that light to as many people as I can, whatever that looks like. But he's been too good for me not to share with others.
Absolutely. Tyreon?
Where he is where I'm trying to be. That's why I think, for me, just kind of the way that I, grew up and, just kind of the territory that I was in, like I really didn't have no other choice but to kind of allow God to, use me as a vessel. My circumstances were not the most favorable coming out of, the housing authority, and, mom and dad really not on the same path growing up, and my brothers dealing with their own mental health issues. My sister, taking part in like raising me. I think for me, like I started writing an autobiography this week called "Lonely Child," healing me softly, because I feel like my journey has been healing. Like I have been healing myself publicly.
Come on.
Through all of the programming and things like that. That's was God allowing me to kind of pour back into the community to allow people to see that if we take pain and turn it into purpose. And I think this latest venture that the getting into the for-profit side of things has shown me that through God all things are possible. I just looked up and this building was in my lap.
Come on now.
Thankful for my father-in-law for that, and just knowing what I can do now, and not having to ask, is it okay if I use this space? Is it okay if I mentor kids? Is it okay? I don't have to ask. I could just go.
No chains.
I just know that, where God has gotten me now, and all the things that he's pulled me through, and what he would continue to pull me through has kind of, shaped me for where I am now. And I'm just excited to know that, my suffering is almost over, and my tribulation is going to be something that nobody has seen in me before, because I have created a new version of myself through God, and I know that these steps that I'm taking is going to continue to bless those around me, and I'm really big on pulling other people with me. So when Chase was like, "Hey man, let's do this meet and lift," I'm like, let's do it. I got other friends around me that want to do things. I try to empower them to do it, and that's just been me, and that's God just using me as a tool for other people to show them that if it's okay to be light, it's okay to step back in the dark and allow somebody else to be light. And that's the chapter I'm in right now, and I'm thankful.
Come on now, village.
And I think you two, what you guys do, because you work with Jonesville, you work with Bundles of Joy, you guys are working with young people. And I think especially as I've gotten older, as we get older, we get away from young people and what they're thinking, what they're going through, what they're feeling. We always kind of expected either we put it towards what our childhoods and growing up was like, or we just assume, oh, well, you'll be fine, you'll get over it. Yep. You guys work with young people all the time. So for somebody who's listening and wants to know, how do I have these conversations with our young people? How do I empower them? How do I embolden them? How do I get them closer to Christ? How do I listen to them when they're actually talking and actually hear them and not just brush it off or give them the, you'll be fine, rub some dirt on it? How do you guys do it? What do you guys, what would your advice be to somebody who's trying to figure that out with their kid or kids in their community?
I think,
you want to answer that one, Jordan? Go for it.
I feel like me growing up with my dad as a mentor, I was made way more mentally stable, and I felt like he made a lot of other kids really inspired, and a lot of kids wanted to be like him. So I feel like if I made a mistake or something, they'd be like, "Oh, I'm gonna tell Mr. Clark." But it was fun because I know that my dad being a mentor, he can help all these other kids out, and that's gonna make a really big impact in the community.
Absolutely.
Amen.
Absolutely.
I feel like a lot of times it's people being selfless, taking the time to get uncomfortable. What we do a lot of times is we giving people our time when we could be choosing to do other things. I think it's easy to turn a blind eye. It's easy to go the other direction. But when you have people like me and Tyreon, to where we are willing to give our time and pour into others without expecting anything in return. Once people have that mentality of paying it forward, a lot of people are on the sidelines, and I challenge people all the time, get out of the sidelines, see people in the community that you may have a relationship with, talk to them, reach out to them, have a conversation with them. Because a lot of times we could be like Jonesville Academy. It's on Saturdays. There's times I'm saying I done worked hard all week. He done worked hard all week. We could be like, oh, we're going to skip this Saturday. It's easy to do that. But for us, when the purpose and why is bigger than you, and we know that us giving other children and other people our time, we know this is going to mold them forever. We need more people in this community. I'm being direct to the people in the community right now. We need more men that's willing to stand with us, not behind us. We're not asking people to follow us. We're asking people to step with us and pay it forward, because that's how you get the blessings at the end of the day. And don't get it wrong. Like, I'm an entrepreneur. That's what I do every day. I love the power of $1, but I also love the power of help somebody being their best self. And that right there, no amount of money it's just priceless. So for me, it's like getting people to reach out to us or whoever's in the community that they have a relationship with, and see how you can help them. Because a lot of times the flesh will keep you home, but I promise you, at the end of the day, once you step out, once it concludes, you'll be like, I'm glad I did that. And that's how it was for Meet and Live. Some people may thought, well, I don't want to come on this Saturday. But once they left, they were like, man, I'm glad I attended that. And a lot of people will be able to understand what that feels like if they get uncomfortable.
Tyreon?
Yeah, I think, when you look at getting into mentorship and having those conversations with kids and so forth, it's more of like that biblical scripture of train up a child, in the way they should go. And as they grow old, they will not depart from it. And it's like, how would you like for your child to be trained up? Do you want to pour anger into your child, or do you want to pour anger into another child, or do you want to pour, happiness and love and compassion? And I often, challenge myself in mentoring and so forth of, leading with love and let my actions, speak for that. So no matter what kid walks in the room, sometimes I even rub my own son's head and he pours his head away from me. But I'm like, if I don't love you, buddy, who is?
Come on.
And it's not that I'm trying to rough him up sometime. I just want love on him, and I think that those little things as kids get older, like it's hard to love a teenage boy, because we see teenage boys as young men, right? So that's where, love leaves a lot of times, because as man, we walk around and we sometimes we need TLC, we need a head rub or a back scratch or, a pat on the back or a hug or whatever the case may be. And I think that's a forgotten art when leading, young people, is that they need that. They need that too.
They just want your time.
They just want your time. They want your love. Like
it comes with it.
That a lot of times people can give kids time, but a lot of times what you don't see is people give kids love. And kids come from broken homes, need love. And that's in the programs and the mentorship that I've been able to do over the last 10 years with Boys to Men in Jonesville, or flag football, or football camps, or you name it. I often take time to like love kids first, and then I teach you. Because if that love creates trust, and you trust me, you're gonna do anything I ask you to do. So I say, hey man, read this Bible scripture, Mr. Clark, I got you. And me and him clash all the time, because it's like I give him tough love.
Yeah.
He might not necessarily understand what I'm trying to teach him now, but when he has a son, I always tell him that. I said, when you have a son, when you get older, this tough love that I'm gonna give you, you're gonna take that and pour back into your son and be like, man, my dad used to woo woo woo, and it's like, yeah, because he loved me. And I think a lot of kids, that's what they need, and that's what we try to lead with, is leading with love.
Absolutely. So like I said, you guys are doing amazing work. So if somebody is interested in Meet and Lift, how can they find out about it? How can they connect with you all? What's the easiest way?
We are not hard to find. If you're gonna find anybody, I feel like we are the easiest people to get connected with, whether it's Facebook or Instagram, whatever the case may be. Tyreon Clark, Chase Carpenter, we are easy to find, and we just want people to get uncomfortable and give their time. But we're here to push you to be your best self. So come on and join this train.
Any other last words from you, Tyreon?
Yeah, man, just get connected. Get connected. There's a lot of things that we're trying to accomplish, in this community, and the more people we get connected to the village, the more people that can have an impact. We got a lot of amazing men and, women doing a lot of amazing work. But a lot of times it's served in a pocket, and I think that we have a lot of groups that are doing a lot of great things, but, in order for our city to take a step forward, we got to figure out a way to bridge that gap and, make sure we have a room where everybody feels connected. So to the men, I challenge you to get to Meet and Lift.
Come on.
It's not your normal space. This is a space that, God created for us, that we created with God, and we want men to come out and, join the journey, and be a journeyman and join the village, because this is not your typical village. It doesn't look like a suit and tie. It's gonna be sweaty. Might be hot in there, but you can join the village and come and pray with us, and we're inviting you to our space.
Perfectly said, my friend.
Jordan, I'm gonna give you the last word. Is there anything you want to say?
Come get the work in.
You said come get the workout. All right. So you all have been listening to Chase Carpenter, Tyreon Clark, and Jordan Clark. As always, I'm your host, Ryan Dearbone, for the Church with No Walls podcast. We hope that you enjoyed this one. Go check out Meet and Lift. If you cannot find it on social media, just jump on ours and we'll get you connected to these. Like I said, these men are everywhere. You'll find them. But if you can't find them, jump on our social and we'll make sure you get to them, because sounds like something powerful. I'm going to try to make it next week, see if I can be there, see if I can.
Nowhere.
I'm gonna lift. I got my 5 pound dumbbells. I'm gonna get them going, and we'll be ready to go. So
we won't judge you. This is a judge-free space.
Good. That's the last thing I need is to be judged. So with that, this has been the Church with No Walls podcast. I'm your host, Ryan Dearbone. As always, take care and be blessed.
Come let us go to the church with no walls. You are my brother, you are my sister. From all over the world we are united in the house of God, in the church with no walls. La, la, la.